There are narcissists and then there are narcissistic psychopaths. Both of them can be dangerous depending on the circumstances, but it is the latter one that will watch my videos and get aroused by the idea that I am talking about my experiences with them because that is the only way they have access to me. Hi, it's Nicole and welcome to my channel where I get vocal about workplace bullying, harassment, intimidation, and all actions in between. Now listen, there are several factors that contribute to someone being who they are, whether it's DNA, personality, characteristics, or just simply life experiences. However, none of those elements is validation for people to be abusive or mistreat others. I think we have all been guilty of making excuses for other people's poor and bad behaviors, myself included. When it comes to Ursula and Cruella, a lot of us initially were giving them a pass because of what we knew about their upbringing. One, being a military kid, moving around a lot and always being the new person on the block. The other, pretty much primarily being raised by their dad and a bunch of brothers, which lends itself to their tough exterior. However, you take all of that and incorporate that with what I've been saying since the beginning. There are certain types of people that should not be in places of leadership. Be in leadership roles, be in charge of others, be managing others, especially when that leader is a narcissist. Now, I've had experiences with two narcissistic leaders. I'm sure you guessed it, Cruella and Ursula. And today I want to unpack what a narcissist is. So let's break this down. What the definition is, what the traits are, how I was able to identify that I was dealing with two different narcissists on separate ends of the spectrum. There are 12 signs of a narcissist, and we're going to unpack them all. I will give my insight on my experiences and how I was able to relate these signs to both Ursula and Cruella. Let's get into it. Superiority and entitlement. Narcissists have to be the best, the most right, the most competent, do things their way, and control everyone. Interestingly enough, narcissists can also get that superior feeling by being the worst, the most wrong, or the most injured for a period of time. This first sign is a clear example of how you have one on one end, the other one on the opposite end. However, these traits still apply to both of them, just in a different way. So you had Cruella, who wanted to be the best and to be recognized as being someone of significance. However, on the opposite end, you had Ursula, who lacks confidence and is always wrong, always woe is me, an imposter, who will put her lack of knowledge on you. Exaggerated need for attention and validation. Narcissists need constant attention and validation. Despite all their self-absorbed grandioso bragging, narcissists are actually very insecure and fearful of not measuring up. Dissecting Cruella first, she is the epitome of bragging. She does this because she knows that she is inferior. While Ursula is not going to brag, she is going to lie, and lie a lot. Lie about things that is going to make her seem adequate. Lie about being salutatorian and valedictorian. Lie about her resume so that she looks better on paper than she does in real life. There's that part of me, that empath part of me, that just feels so sad that someone would go to the lengths that they would to lie, especially when we live in a world where you can simply look it up. I mean, the lengths that narcissists will go to to make themselves seem more relevant and prominent than they actually are, especially when they know they do not actually measure up. Measure up to their staff, measure up to their society, measure up to the people in their home. None of those things align. Lack of responsibility, blaming, and deflecting. When things don't go according to their plan, or they feel criticized or less than perfect, the narcissist places the blame and responsibility elsewhere. Now, one thing Ursula is not going to do is take accountability. Sis will avoid it like it is the plague. Anything that happens is because of everyone else. This happened, oh, because you guys hate me. You don't like me. You don't think I'm qualified. And it's like you're giving people too much power. I don't have a hate bone in my body. I don't like you. And in essence, I don't have to like you because the Bible says love thy neighbor. It doesn't say like thy neighbor. But one way or the other, what does that have to do with the fact that we are in a workplace and my liking you or not has nothing to do with me being able to do my job and be respectful? Her being under investigation was everybody else's doing. And it's like, no, ma'am. Your board chair decided that she was going to press play on that call and make the decision to have you investigated. Has nothing to do with the staff requesting to have a meeting to discuss your behavior. But again, it's that lack of accountability. It's everybody else's fault. Now, what I will say about Cruella is that she wants all the smoke. She is definitely one of those people that's like, yeah, I said it. I did it. I'm going to stand 10 toes down in it. Again, on that other end of the spectrum. The caveat to that is she still doesn't like being called out. So although she wants to get ahead of the narrative, she still doesn't appreciate having to justify her behavior. Lack of boundaries. Narcissists can't accurately see where they end and you begin. They are shocked and highly insulted to be told no. This one is where I became the target for both parties. That moment where I started to set boundaries and decide I'm only going to show up to work to do work, it became a problem. I was no longer giving either one of them the attention that they needed or desired or craved or allowed them to be in my personal space or require me to be a part of things that were not written in my job description. Things really took a turn for me. We are going to get into specifics of some of these things later. I have several story times coming up to address this, to address other types of situations. So stay tuned for that. Lack of empathy. Narcissists have little ability to empathize with others. They tend to be selfish and self-involved and are usually unable to understand what other people are really feeling. They are also rarely apologetic, remorseful, or guilty. This one is where I struggled because I feel everything and they felt nothing. And that already is an unbalanced equation. As one of the hierarchies in the organization at the time, I became the moral compass. So no one wanted to be around them, wanted to be bothered with them, unless I was going to be engaged in the situation. And again, I'm starting to set boundaries. So now that I have my boundaries and I have decided that I wasn't going to engage in certain things, people were starting to also fall back. They were more so looking to me and my positive energy because they were so negative. Instead of them taking any form of accountability and sitting back and reflecting on why do my staff prefer her over me as the leader, should have been red flags warning for them versus them deciding to either retaliate against me or mistreat me even further because they're realizing I'm the preferred individual and they're not. However, people 9 times out of 10 are going to be attracted to the positive versus the negative. and they were negative people. Emotional reasoning. You've probably made the mistake of trying to reason and use logic with the narcissist to get him or her to understand the painful effect their behaviors have on you. You think if he or she understands how much their behavior hurts you, they'll change. This one just totally backfired on me. I was definitely that one that was trying to reason. Both of them wanted to go down this road of putting me in the hot seat and inquiring several different times, pretty much harassing me about why I wanted to work for the organization and asking my input on ways to change, even though them asking was held against me. And I'm speaking up about the aura in the office. That is one thing that could be improved. I will say, as a reminder, Ursula was brought in by Cruella, so a lot of her behavior is modeled after Cruella. Cruella had this strange obsession with trying to mold someone. She would hire people with that being her intent. She wanted to create something. And Ursula was the appropriate, it's not appropriate. She was the one who took the bait. Whatever discussions they had before her being brought in my personal opinion, is what allowed her to go down that trajectory and stay on it, even when she became the leader a year later. That same learned behavior that she got from Cruella to create silos and be abusive, because they're two different types of narcissists. One was a lot more heightened than the other. At least Cruella knew when to stop. Ursula? No, ma'am. Splitting. Narcissists aren't able to clearly see, feel, or remember both the positive and the negative in a situation. Any negative thoughts or behaviors are blamed on you or others, whereas they take credit for everything that is positive and good. Okay, so they were both good at taking credit for the work of their staff and trying to attribute that as their success as leaders. And it's giving, no, you are able to acknowledge that things are going well, but they're going well because of the staff that you have in place. Not because you're actually doing anything in your role, your job description, to enhance the success of any staffer. In their mind, they are influencing the successful outcome of the organization. They thirst for the acknowledgement, yet at the same time will blame you when things that they should really be fully focused on and in charge of fails, which is not in your domain, not in your area. Now that falls on you, because again, they don't take accountability, but they want to be acknowledged for the successful things and toss all of the negative things onto other people. Fear. The narcissist's entire life is motivated and energized by fear. They're constantly afraid of being ridiculed, rejected, being wrong, or found out. They may have fears about their appearance, about losing their money, about being betrayed, about being seen as bad or inadequate, or about being abandoned. This one is just interesting on both sides, because again, you have Cruella, who will consistently call herself out as if it's supposed to be a badge of honor as the executive director of a arts organization, that you're telling people openly that I don't know anything about the arts. How do you find joy in doing that and confidence in doing that? The world may never know. However, that is Cruella for you. She has the fear of being called out, that she is going to call herself out first, so she can harp on herself and her lack of abilities and strip that opportunity away from anyone else being able to say it, because she already did. But Ursula has that whole imposter syndrome. She has fear that people are going to find out that she is an imposter. So she will project onto you at any given moment, I know you don't think I know what I'm doing, but but you don't. I mean, so, but we established that already. We established that when you came in and had 3 or 4 different titles before you landed on one that stuck. But you're the only one that brings that particular issue for yourself up. I'm so over the deflecting on personal insecurities. I'm over it. Anxiety. Most narcissists project their anxiety onto their closest loved ones, accusing them of being negative, unsupportive, mentally ill, not putting them first, not responding to their needs, or being selfish. Ursula is the poster child for projecting and being selfish. She will do any and everything to uphold the perception of her being qualified. Even though she is not, she is going to do everything she can do to not necessarily live up to that, but fighting for that facade, that image, that idea to others that she's equipped, which again goes to the lying, goes to doing extraordinary things to make herself seem relevant and worthy of being in the presence of certain people. You take her resume from day one, reference that now, it's changed by the information she picks up from different people, from different moments, from different aspects. And I get it. I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. Because in essence, she has never made this much money before. Money is always the root of all evil. And as much as she'll say, if I'm being such a distraction and causing people so much anguish, I have no problem in stepping down, then ma'am, step down. Step down. But again, that's that gaslighting. I'm going to say the things, even though I have no intentions of actually doing it, because this money is good to me. This money is what I need to make myself seem important. It's the title and it's the money. It's something she's never had before because she's never measured up to the people in her surroundings, ever. But now the staff has to suffer for her emotional climb to the top off of the backs and success of the people she's abusing. Shame. Narcissists don't feel much guilt because they think they are always right and they don't believe their behaviors really affect anyone else. They lack integrity, authenticity, and don't seem genuine. Ursula definitely struggles with this one the most. She often uses her upbringing as an excuse when it's convenient for her. When it's convenient for her, it is all about, I was the new kid, I experienced this and I experienced that. It's that fine line of oversharing because in this moment, I want to also try to gaslight you. I never thought that I would be fighting at home and be fighting at work too. Now wait. Again, this is that gaslighting. This is that oversharing. This is that let me try to draw you in. The fact that you are fighting in the workplace is beyond despicable. That your mind is telling you that is what you're doing. Now, I'm an empath, but there are those moments where it's like, I really don't care. I do not care that you're fighting at home. That is none of my business. And the fact that you're fighting at home and that's obviously trickling into the workplace is even more the reason why this isn't the space for you. An inability to be truly vulnerable. Because of their inability to understand feelings, their lack of empathy, and constant need for self-protection, narcissists can't truly love or connect emotionally with other people. They cannot look at the world from anyone else's perspective. Now, I want to be very clear. I think there is a level of vulnerability, especially when you're talking about the workplace, that doesn't belong in the workplace. When we're talking about a leader, For me, that level of vulnerability is someone who is authentic in their approach. I have an issue, I'm able to come to you with that issue, even if you are the issue. Now, with Ursula, we're going to throw in the gaslighting. We're going to throw in, again, I told you guys, she will utilize her upbringings to her benefit when she wants to. On one token, it's giving, I have an open door policy. You guys can come and talk to me about anything. Even if you have a problem with me, come and address those issues. On the other hand, she will give you, I'm closed off. Well, ma'am, which one are you? Are you closed off or are you open door? Because you can't be both. Your personal experiences in your life cannot hinder your ability to be a leader, to be able to address issues. I don't care about you personally being closed off because of your whatever issues you have on the outside world. And the fact that someone would say something like that is called an oxymoron. You can't openly tell people I'm closed off. My experiences have made me da-da-da-da-da, but I have an open door policy. If you have an issue, please say something to me. How is that supposed to work? The vulnerability she lacks, the empathy she lacks. So being able to set aside your personal experiences to be in a professional setting and address issues as they arise, even if it's with or without you, you just lack the ability to do so. An inability to communicate or work as a part of a team. Don't expect the narcissist to understand your feelings, give in, or give up anything he or she wants for your benefit. It's useless. For both Ursula and Cruella, communication skills and working at a team were pretty much non-existent. I feel like they created silos, both of them intentionally. Because by creating the silos, you're able to be abusive. Be abusive because people are not going to be talking about the abuse that they're getting. No one knows. So I don't know that this person is having these types of encounters with you. I don't know that this person is also experiencing what I'm experiencing with you. So when you create the silos, you're able to be abusive, just like in a physical relationship. When you are in a relationship with somebody, it turns physical and you're being abused to, an extreme or even a minimal magnitude. They're going to want to isolate you from family and friends. That way they can do what they do and no one knows. No one sees the bruises. No one's able to compare notes. They don't really want to address the silos. They want to create further division and problems amongst the staff. Hence, therefore, why Cruella was telling staff members when they got there to not talk to other staff members. We were getting abused over here. So the new people don't talk to those people. And who followed suit? Ursula. But again, that's narcissist speaking narcissist versus narcissists speaking to non-narcissists and those non-narcissists saying, we're not doing that. I know I got a little long-winded, probably a little too passionate about going through these signs, but I hope that is helpful. I hope that with sharing these signs and sharing some examples gives you insight on not just what I encounter and how I was able to identify who I was working with, but for you as well. Because narcissists can be extremely dangerous. It is definitely not a place for them in leadership, in places where there's no accountability for their actions, meaning no HR, no way to talk to anyone about what's going on. I encourage you to get out. And I know that's easier said than done, because a lot of the times we're thinking about money. We're thinking about all of the different reasons that we can't just uproot and leave a job. However, our mental health is important. Our love, our peace, our joy, our happiness is more important than being abused by our bosses at work. I'm rambling, but feel free to leave a comment down below if you've had encounters with a narcissist, a narcissistic boss. So I just want to end with, acknowledging the fact that not everyone hears this all the time. So if no one told you today, let me be the one to say, I love you. Cheers.